Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how I made this climbable tree in Blender. And I'm going to show you kind of like the process I went through in creating that. And I do make a lot of mistakes, but I do show you how to correct those mistakes, so maybe you'll learn something. Let's get to it. Okay, so we first added our cylinder, and we're gonna actually increase the vertices to start to something maybe like 128, so that our starter cylinder is a little smoother. And then we're at 2 millimeters right now, so we're just gonna scale this maybe to about like an inch thick. So we need to scale it by, it's like 25 millimeters, so 12.5. Okay, and then we're gonna scale this on the Z. Let's make it 4 inches tall. Okay, and then I'm just gonna line it up to the bottom right there, just so like this is kind of like our ground. Um, and as you can see, like 4 inches is about 10 centimeters. And then let's go into edit mode and kind of just we're gonna scale the bottom up a little bit, maybe like 1.5. That kind of seems like a little too much, but it's whatever. Oh, and then let's apply all transformations so that we don't come up. And then I like to set the origin to center mass after I do that. Okay. So what do we do first? Um, the thing I'm going to do first is actually just duplicate this and then scale it by 0.5. I think that's a little too big. I'm going to make 4 like roots to kind of just stabilize our tree, because if we were to like print something like this, uh, it'll be very easy to tip over. So remember, if when we're designing these things with 3D printing in mind, we want something that's like stable, right? So we want to make some like roots. I think this is a little too big though, so let's scale this by 0.75. Okay, I like that. And the reason I'm keeping it upright is when we add texture to it, it'll apply it in the right direction. You'll see in a little bit. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some loop cuts, maybe 3. And then let's go into X-ray mode. And then we're just going to like make this like wiggle a little bit. And maybe scale this down. Scale this down. Something like that. And then what we're going to do is select these edges. And then we're going to Control B to bevel it. Be careful not to like go over too much. But let's do maybe like this. Okay, I think that's fine to start. And now what we're going to do is we are going to go into sculpt mode. And then before we remesh, we're actually going to do Shift R to see what we can get away with. Because the higher this number is, the lower the pixels are. It might be kind of hard to tell, but But yeah, we don't want it to be like too fine. Like, look at this. You can't even see it, right? Because it's so little, it turns invisible to the naked eye. So maybe zero point 0.5, but that seems a little overkill as well. Maybe 0.75. Okay, so let's go 0.75 and then see how we like that. Okay, so now when I don't like that. So these are the vertices we're working with, right? I don't think that's good enough. It might be good enough. Okay. Let's say it's good enough. So let's try this. Remember, we go to texture properties. We're gonna add a new one. Open. Go to our textures, and then go to tree, and that is the tree. So now when we do the draw, it looks like that. And yeah, I think we're good to go. So let me go to this active tool and workspace settings. And I'm going to change the stroke. By default, it's on space. I'm going to change it to anchored. So that when I click on it and I drag, it kind of just like... Okay. And as you can see, it's crazy strong. So I'm going to lower the strength to 0.1. And I'm also, I always forget to do this, front face only. Okay. Because it'll draw on the back too and then create like a negative image on that. And I don't want to do that. So we're just going to do the front. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'm just doing this on every like cardinal direction. Slash to isolate the object. And then now this is what we have. And I think that looks fine. It's fine. Okay. And then we'll just rotate this on the X by 90. And then let's go like this. And then we will mirror it to this on the y-axis. But let's not apply it yet. And then let's duplicate this. Rotate on the... Something like that. And then we will move this a little below ground, and then we'll just cut off the bottom half after we figure the rest of it out. Okay, so we are all set with the roots slash stabilizers. So for this, the main trunk part. So for the main trunk part, we can easily just like remesh it and then draw on the bark. But I want to add like branches to it. So I'm going to actually add an area. Like 45 degrees. Maybe like whatever degree that is. And then I'm just going to add it like this. let's see. This one, so this is 2 inches. I wanted it at about 3-inch height, so maybe something like this. I don't know. This is just for just to see what it would be like. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna plan on putting these 2 branches. I'm actually gonna apply this. Go to edit mode, select all, and then separate by loose parts so that they're 2 different objects. So here's 1, here's 2. I'm gonna let's set this origin to this, and then I'm gonna do something like this so that it's not like perfectly symmetrical. And I am gonna move the trunk actually, so that these little holes that I'm gonna make is diagonal to the roots. Okay, so for now, let's just sculpt the main trunk. Yeah, that's fine. And then let's try this again. Shift R, and then see what we can get away with. So 0.56 is a little too big. Okay, maybe 0.4? 0.4? Yeah, I think that's plenty enough. Okay, and then just very briefly, I am going to... okay, we have that. Let's actually turn that off for now. So very briefly, I'm just gonna shape the tree a little bit. Let's go 0.25 on the string. Guys, nothing happening? Oh my goodness. Okay. So right now I'm just kind of like drawing like little ripples that might be made when a tree like pushes a branch out. I don't know what the technical term for that is. But yeah, as you can see, it's creating like a not so flat surface. I'm gonna do the same thing here. And we are not looking for like perfect circles, right? Because even if I like do something like this, like it adds um, like interesting spaces to the trunk, because in nature nothing is like perfectly like symmetrical, right? Like even if I just like kind of do this, and one thing I want to point out is this is kind of like how I make my like cloth. I just make like a basic shape and then just put ripples in it, and then kind of just like be done with it. But for this one, we are gonna add uh like texture to it, so it'll look more like wood. Okay, and then let's go to the grab brush and then kind of just work with this a little bit. I'm gonna push this out. And then as you can see, it's like kind of dipping uh, out, like down below our, like, I guess, sea level. And that's okay, because we're just going to cut the entire bottom off when we're done with everything. So I'm just kind of pushing it out, pushing out the bottom. As I would imagine, like, that's, trees at the bottom, they kind of push out like this because underneath the ground there's like roots, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing. It kind of looks like an elephant foot, just with toes in like every direction. And for this, I'm not really matching up with the roots, these 4 roots, because we'll do that later. Okay, and then oh, we're on the grab brush. I meant to do draw. And then we'll just kind of give this some shape. And then the top I kind of want to leave alone because I do want to make it like jagged and just leave a hole in the top so that eventually, I'm not going to do that today, but eventually I want to put like an optional like canopy. I don't know if that's what that's called on the trees, but yeah, like trees have like a bunch of leaves, right? And they like, it's kind of like a roof. But when you're playing with a lot of trees on the map, it's kind of hard to see something under the tree. So I want that canopy to be removable. So we're gonna add like a little hole so that you can stick a canopy into it, but leave that hole so that it's removable. Okay, so we want the top to be just perfectly flat like that, at least for now. Okay. And you know what? I think that looks fine for what we're going for. So let's get that texture back. Tree. About that. About that size. And yeah. Oh, change the stroke back to anchored. And the strength is a little too high, so we're going to go back to 0.1. Let's isolate it actually. We're going side. Back. And the other side. Okay. So now this is what we got. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of these. And then we're gonna turn this on the Z by 45 so that our branches are coming out diagonally from our cardinal direction roots. Okay, so to combine this, we are going to click. You want the main object to be clicked last, typically. So we're going to click this, hold shift, click the other roots, and then while still holding shift, click on the main tree trunk. And then we're just going to do the bool tool union. And hopefully yep, it's fine. And then we are going to add a cube and then just blow it up so that it fills this space. Let's scale it on the Z a little bit, and then we're going to align it with the bottom, right? So that if you look inside, all this stuff is the stuff we're going to cut off so that it's just flat like this. And then I don't like these edges, so we're actually going to go back into sculpt mode, go into grab, and then just kind of just point these down so that they're not so spherical at the edges. And then this kind of gives you the illusion that it's going into the ground, which is exactly what we want. And you could like vary how deep some of those go. And I think that looks okay. So let's just cut the bottom off. So yeah, this is our main object. So we click on the cube or our former cube first, and then click on the tree trunk, and then we just click on difference. And that did not work. Why did that not work? Because reasons. So in these cases, I find that if you remesh, it could solve the problem. Don't ask me why. Something about the objects combining, it like messes something up. But when you remesh, it kind of fixes it, hopefully. So we're going to go back into sculpt mode, and we are going to remesh at 0.4. Okay. I think we are okay detail-wise. And then let's see if that fixed our issue. We're going to click on the platform, and then okay. And then click on difference. And yeah, there we go. I honestly don't know why. Something about when you combine objects, it messes up like what's on the inside versus what's on the outside. But when you remesh, it kind of fixes that. So if that happens to you in the future, and as you can see, the bottom is completely flat. And if we go into edit mode, the bottom is actually just one face. Like, if I go into face select and I click it, it's, yeah. So this kind of saves us on like geometry. Because when you have a lot of geometry, it could slow down your computer a lot. So this kind of helps, just like cutting things out like that. And we are going to do something similar to the branches that we make, but we have to make the branches first. Okay, so we are going to add a cylinder. And then kind of just like eyeball it, I guess, because I did not precisely measure the branch hole. And then let's rotate this on the X by 90. And it's not going to go into the trunk like this, but I'm just doing this to just measure it out. All right, I think that's fine. Let's go into edit mode and kind of move this part out as far as we want it to go. Like it'll go up like this, right? So around there, let's scale it down a little bit. Like so. And then let's do that. Let's go into X-ray, X-ray mode. And then we're just gonna tilt this. You know what? I think that's fine. Uh, okay, so this will be kind of like our branch. Let's bevel these front face view. Something like that. Okay. Um. Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering if I should, because I don't know how to sculpt in a certain direction. So I am going to, let's set origin to center mass, and then kind of just eyeball this. And then we'll go to sculpt mode, remesh to point, I think, 4. Okay. Who knows what happened there? Who knows what happened? We did not apply our transformation. Apply all transformation, and then let's set origin to center mass, and then go to sculpt mode, remesh 0.4. Remesh, let's go 0.3. Okay, that's probably fine. Texture brush. Let's go this and go. Okay, we're unanchored, so we just. It's kind of weird. There's like this line, and I don't know why. Um, I think that's fine. And now we gotta kind of eyeball this again. We're rotating on the Y, like this. Okay, I think that looks fine. And I'm gonna make the two branches exactly identical. So before I start on the other one, I'm gonna finish up this one. And what I want to happen is, and this is kind of like a pro tip. Okay, so I imported my like Dragon Knight STL. That's like completely, um, assembled with even with the base. And in real life, it looks like this. It's cute, right? I don't know if you can see it. It's gonna be super tiny, but yeah. Um, Sometimes it's a good idea to have them have your models in the scene just to see if the scale measures correctly. And this is probably good. The tree kind of looks bigger than I thought it'd be, but I think it's fine. Um, so what I want to have is a branch where I could put my miniatures on. So I want something like this where they can stand on it without like, running into the tree, right? So I think that looks good. So real quick, I'm just going to add a cylinder and then scale it on the X by, let's go 30. Yeah, 30. What am I trying to say? 30 millimeters. So scale it on the X by 15 because it's originally by 2. And then we're going to scale it on the Y by 15. And then that should give us plenty of room to put our 25 millimeter miniature on top. Bloop. Plenty of room. And I'm not going to like worry about lining it up because right now it doesn't matter. We just need to make sure, yeah, the branch wasn't clipping through, but it is clipping on the bottom, which is what we want. So yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so now this is probably going to be the most annoying part. We need to add like several branches and leaves to kind of cover up our base. I'm going to take the easy way route and just literally duplicate this a bunch of times. Okay, so don't get mad at me. Okay, I'm just taking the easy route. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with this for now. Um, then I'm just gonna put this guy on top just to see what that would look like. Yeah, he's on a tree, and yeah, I'm liking it. He doesn't have the right weapon, but that'll come later. Okay, I went ahead and added a few more branches. Um, and I'll probably clean this up a little later. But I figured, because I want this platform up here, that it needed a little more structural integrity. Um, and then now for the hard part. So I'm gonna make like a single leaf and just duplicate it all over the place on this, uh, like to kind of hide this little platform that this guy is standing on. But that's going to be very tedious. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a leaf. And then I'll probably fast forward just duplicating it and putting it everywhere. But yeah, so to do that, I'm actually going to start with a cube. And we will bring that over here. And yeah, let's go top view for this. Be about this thick. About. And then we're just gonna shape this into a leaf by adding some loop cuts, and then let's go. It's proportional editing is on. I'm just scaling this on the X to just bring it closer together. Let's have a sharp end over here. Or sharper. Maybe something like that. And still a little too thick, so let's make it like this. And let's go. Let's add some loop cuts towards the middle. And then we're gonna bring this down a little bit. So let's add a loop cut here and then just kind of bring that down. And then I think I'm just gonna subdivision surface modifier it. Yeah. What do you think? I think that looks pretty good. It has this crease on the top, but not the bottom. It's pretty smooth. Let's just increase it one more. Yeah. Let's apply that. And this is what we have. And I don't want it to be completely flat like this, so we are gonna do proportional. Edit mode first. Proportional editing. And then I'm just gonna click. You know, the middle line is already selected, so I think I'm just gonna leave that. And then we will just bring this up. Yeah, and then this, the mouse wheel while you're clicking on it is how that works. So yeah, why is it? Okay, you know what? That's not working out. So we gotta find the middle. Maybe that's it. And then pull that one up. Give it a little curve. And I think that's as perfect as it's gonna get. So that's our leaf. Let's just transformation, set origin. And yeah, there's our leaf. And then we're gonna leave this over here. We're not gonna touch it. This is kind of like our alpha leaf. And then we're just gonna duplicate everything from there. So here we go. And this may or may not be where I start my time lapse, because this might be very tedious, slightly frustrating, and very, very time consuming. But this is pretty much the idea. I might duplicate it, rotate it, stick it over here, maybe smaller on the Y, on the Z, like that. Maybe I'll add a modifier mirror on this, like that. But yeah, this is awesome. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And yeah, I'm just gonna apply that. Cause yeah. Okay, I think I will do a time lapse, and yeah, enjoy. Okay, just real quick, this is kind of like my baseline where I put like this three leaf group at the edge of each branch, just to kind of hide the fact that the branch is like flat at the end. But I was like so focused on this, I was like not breathing. So remember to breathe when you do this. Okay, so it was at this point I realized this is gonna be a nightmare to like combine. So I am actually gonna form kind of like what I did with the first one, except I didn't combine them. I'm gonna form pre-combined chunks and just hope that they fit into these like cracks. Um, but yeah, this is what it looks like so far. Um, you can tell there's like pieces missing, like somebody who is going a little bald maybe. So yeah, we are gonna fill in all these gaps, and then we'll see how it looks. But I think we're getting there. I'm tempted to like make bigger leaves so that they take up more space. And I think I am gonna do that. So let me know what you think. Smaller leaves or bigger leaves? Here we go. Okay, so this is what I have so far. Um, I think it looks okay, not the best. But yeah, I think if I were to start this over again, I would start with the bigger leaves and use smaller leaves to kind of fill in the gaps. So that was my mistake, but it is what it is. This is what we got. And I don't really. hmm, Yeah, I still need to fix this up a little bit to get it ready for print. But yeah, I'm gonna call this like kinda good. Um, but yeah, I am gonna fix it up a little bit. So I'm probably just gonna cut it here and then just go straight to the finished product. Okay. One thing I am gonna do is make like a little indent so that 25 millimeter or 1 inch base can like sit in this circle and not just like kind of sit flat on top of it. So to do that, I'm just gonna isolate this. We're gonna look at it from the top, and we are going to do X-ray. Go to edit mode, and probably should have done this without the X-ray. Face select just the top, and then now we go to X-ray, and then we're just gonna inset to about just like 1 millimeter in on each side. So if it was 30, now it should be uh, 128. I'm not going to count it. And then I'm going to just extrude it and then bring it down. Oh, get rid of proportional editing. Let's bring it down to maybe about halfway, and then we're gonna let's scale by 0.95. It's 0.95. Scale 0.99. Okay, so it's kind of sloped. And then I think that should be good. Oh, this is my personal thing, but I am gonna add a 1/2 inch steel circle, so that magnetized bases can just like kind of click on there. So I do need to kind of measure this out. So we are going to inset again, and then it's going to be 1/2 inch. So that's like 13 millimeters. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so this is a little over 13.5, so that should be good enough. And then we are going to extrude again, and then half of that. So yeah, the steel plate will kind of come out a little bit, but that should be fine. So that's what that looks like. Kind of hard to see. Let's go into, yeah. So it goes in. Okay. All right, so that gives us some issues because all of these were measured to just, yeah. So we could fix that by just doing this. Is that what we want to do? Okay, this line right here. And then we can just bring that out maybe like 2. Okay. I think that looks fine. Let me know what you think. Is it too like noticeable out of the leaves? Or is it perfect? Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, so now that we got that done, and we can make sure this this guy fits in there by going like this. And as you can see, there's plenty of room on the edges, which is good because maybe the base is a little bigger than 1 inch. Okay, I will usually tell you never to do this, but I'm gonna try it. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna just select all of these, and as you can see, it selects all of them, and then we're just gonna join them like so, so that it's one object, and then we are going to remesh, and when we remesh, it should get rid of all the internal, like if we go into, like, you can't even see through this stuff because it's all like going through each other, right? But if we remesh, it should get rid of all the internal geometry. So we do want to remesh at a higher resolution. So maybe 0.2 would be good. But before we do that, let's apply all transformations. And then scope mode, remesh 0.2, see what that looks like. And it's going a little crazy, and it might crash because it's working with so many different... Okay, that's done. That wasn't too bad. And as you can see, like on the edges, it's a little like that. So what we can do is just make this real big and just smooth it out a little bit. Which does lose us some detail, but I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, now when we do the X-ray, you see how all the internal geometry is gone? And like, yeah, if we look through here, you can see that it's all just one object with nothing clipping through on the inside. I'm a little worried about this, but I'm gonna Alt-Z. Let's not smooth it out. Okay. I went too far. You know what? That remesh wasn't that bad, so I'm actually gonna remesh at 0.1 and hope for the best. Now 0.1 should give us a higher resolution, double what we just tried. So hopefully we won't have to smooth anything out. But like I said, you see how it's taken a while? The computer might crash. Okay, that wasn't too bad. And you know what? I'm not too worried about these like edges being like this because like not having to like add everything is worth it, and also you won't be able to notice this. Like there's no way. If you're able to notice that, you're like some kind of ego person because we can see it like this close up, but when we print it, it's gonna be like this big. So if you can notice those edges being a little janky, then you're like a crazy microscope person. Okay? So yeah, don't worry about that. So much easier. Okay, so we are going to the next part, and what we need to do is, so I want to print this trunk and this in two different pieces and just kind of add it in, either through just gluing it or just kind of, making it stick just with friction. So to do that, we are going to have to line this up. So we're going to rotate this on the Z by 45. And then we're just going to fit it. And hopefully it fits perfectly. Does it? I think that's good enough. And I am actually going to turn both of these on the Z by 45. Yeah. And then let's just duplicate this. Just to see what that looks like. 180. And then this one is going down here. Like so. And then that's that's our tree. It is a little symmetrical in my opinion, but it's too late now. We can't go back. And yeah, so the connection point, let's make it a hexagon. So we'll do a cylinder, make it a 6-sided cylinder. Blow it up. Let's rotate it on the X 90. And we are in side view. Okay. So we're going to make this like this. Let's go a little deeper. Let's go edit mode. G to move on the Y. Nope. G to move on the X. G to move on the XX. G to move on the ZZ. Okay, ZZ. Then we're gonna make it like that. Then we'll go to front view and then just line this whole thing up to the middle. And yeah. I did not account for the curvature of the tree trunk. So it is kind of wrapping around a little bit. And I honestly don't know how to fix that problem. So what we are going to do is add another cylinder. I feel like I'm making this so much harder than it needs to be, but yeah. I honestly don't know what I'm doing. Okay, let's just cut this out. Okay, so we click, 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 difference. Okay, that seemed to have worked, but I need that object, so we're gonna Alt Z. Let's just duplicate it for our branches. Duplicate for our branches, and then click, 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 difference. Okay, and here is, I actually don't need 2 of these, right? Yeah, let's get rid of this one. Okay, so here's an important thing. This will never fit into this because it was exactly like the same, right? So at its closest point, the walls occupy the same space. So they can't, it won't fit, okay? So we need to scale this down a little bit. Let's see what 90% looks like. Let's go into, yep, So yeah, this is 90%, and it has a clearance of about half a millimeter, I would say, and I feel like that's perfect. Let's see what this looks like in here. Yeah, and as you can see, this will also not fit in there. So what needs to happen is, in plain terms, um, our branch needs to conform to this shape. Like, but not only that, uh, like the outside can't be, you know? So what we're gonna do is just gonna grab it, just so yeah, I'm just trying to get it close to the circle shape without it clipping out like this, or this going out too much. Like that. Ooh, I really should cut this part out, but I will leave it on just for you guys. So let's say we combine this and then this goes in. It's hard because it's at an angle and the trunk is like not flat. So it might be too hard to like try to make this flush, you know? Um but you know what? We can try. We'll see. I'm gonna call it. I'm just gonna combine these two and then you'll see if it worked or not. And if it doesn't work, then we'll just probably end up sticking the branch into the tree and just kind of making it one object. We'll see. Okay. So yeah, all we need to do is just combine these two objects. And hopefully nothing disappears. Okay, so yeah, this branch is one object. We'll make two and then stick them in here. The last part, I do want this to be a little bit. I think I'm just gonna hollow it out. If you're looking at it from the top, it just looks like it's kind of like a hollow tree. But it should give us enough room that in the future, if we want to add like a canopy attachment, we could just stick it right in there. But we're not going to do the canopy this time around, so we're just going to put the hole in there and call it a day. There's the hole. And yeah, that looks good. And I think we're done. Okay. So, um, I am going to save these parts as STLs and then export them, and then we'll get it printed. Okay, so here we have our branch, and we can't just print it like this because it um, it can't just float in midair, right? So we do need to add supports, and I am going to add supports manually. And a good rule of thumb is that you want your models to be oriented in like a 45-degree angle. This is already angled, so we don't need to rotate it too much. But yeah, we're gonna rotate it like this. Sure. And then we click this to go to the supports. And then I like to do medium supports because light just seems too light and heavy seems too heavy, if that makes sense. And then what we're going to do is um, just put it on the lowest parts to support it. And as you can see, the bottom is kind of like this. That makes it so that you can scrape it off the build plate easier. And yeah, pretty much any low points you want to click. So here we're gonna have a lot of low points in the leaves. Like I'm having a hard time like even like what am I looking at? But yeah, like here too, and um yeah, and you do want to this top part is fine, and you do want to kind of like not just support it in a straight line, but like around it too, to kind of like build up this like structural integrity. But yeah, I'm not too worried about putting any points on this part because first of all, it's the under part of the branch, so no one's really gonna see it, and it's bumpy already anyway. So yeah, we can just put it everywhere so often, so that we just know that this thing is supported and it won't, because this is like one solid block, right? There is some suction force when it's like a big part like this. Um, so yeah, we just want to make sure that there are supports and that these supports are supported by other supports like so. And they're not just like a single line like this. That's not good. Because when this is printing, this support, if it was left like this, it'll just print by itself. And then when it's like going into the resin, it could like shift and like break, which means this leaf right here would never be printed. So, okay, so now we actually need to do all the individual leaves. And I think, what did it? We're gonna go here and delete that one. Delete. Um, and I think just a point at the bottom of every leaf should be fine. And this is one of the reasons why, if you like subscribe to a 3D printing subscription where they give you a bunch of things, like having them pre-supported is so important because you don't have to do this tedious work. But yeah, I will fast forward this and you don't have to watch me do each and every one, but you get it. And then now we're going to support some of the big ones, like, because this one, it probably won't last. So we'll put it closer to there. And this one might be fine because it's pointed up a little bit. And it being connected to this block or this base plate should be enough support for it to get printed. But yeah, I'm a little worried about some of these flatter ones. Yeah, we'll see. This is definitely a very complicated piece. And yeah, taking all these supports off is gonna be a pain. Okay, I am gonna call this good and hope for the best. Edge. If it's a little bit on the edge like that, it shouldn't be a problem. And then we just slice it. And then this is where we can change like the exposure times. And I know people are going to yell at me, but I'm going to put my bottom exposure time to 80 and exposure time to 8 because I'm using an OG photon and that is what works for me. And some of the newer models can do it a lot faster, but I still have the OG photon and it is working perfectly fine for me. And I've been using these numbers for years and it has never failed. And uh, and the screen hasn't like burned out because I'm using so much time to expose it. So or the LCD screen or whatever, it still works. So until it breaks, I'm gonna use these settings, and when it does break, I'll get a newer machine that is a lot faster. It's literally like 4 times faster, I think. Um, but yeah, it says it's gonna take about 6 hours. Okay, and I can only print one at a time because it's so big. Okay, here I am in Cura, and we're just gonna load up the tree trunk. And I was originally going to print this in resin, but it is too big. Um, and believe it or not, this does not require any supports. And it should print just fine like this. I am a little worried about the little details. Um, but nothing has any like overhang, at least not too crazy. So yeah, it should print just fine like this. So we are gonna do a 10% infill and no support, and then call it good. 3 hours and 43 minutes, not bad. Okay, we will save that to disk, and then we'll put that on a micro SD card, and then start printing. And this is how the trunk came out. And as you can see, it took 3 hours and 29 minutes. And this is how the branch came out. And here I have the branch and I'm trying to fit it into the tree, and it came out a lot more loose than I thought it'd be. So there is a little bit of wiggle. And as you can see from this picture, you can see like one of the branches, it's not even level. So what I did with these, I just used a hot glue gun and I filled the hole, and then I used super glue around the edges to secure it. It's not perfect, but it is what we have. But the one thing that fit perfectly was the steel disc. And as you can see here, I have the Dragon Knight on a magnetized base, and he fits on there very securely. So that's it for this one. Let me know your thoughts on the long form format. I did debate on whether I should break it up into like different parts and just release a bunch of smaller videos. But I kind of wanted to show you the entire process of how I did this. In the future, I will probably break it down into smaller parts because I doubt anyone will watch this entire video in its entirety. But if you did, thank you. I love you. And yeah, let me know if there is anything else that you want me to attempt to make in Blender for 3D printing. The next video is actually going to be about how I made this 4x4 like grassland dungeon tile. It's very simple and it's going to be a lot shorter than this one. So if you're interested, keep your eyes out for that one. So uh, as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.